So, I thought I should say a few words. I could say a few thousand, but a few should do for tonight. We're gathered here today, sound like a priest there, but to celebrate the retirement of Nick Bullis. On behalf of John Brooks Company and all of his workmates, I'd like to say a few words to commemorate this momentous occasion. It was on the 10th of August, way back in 1977, that Nick joined the company in Montreal. I can't say too much about those early years because I was still just a boy. But I have it on good authority that back in those days, Nick was a much trimmer individual with a substantial amount of hair up on top. A few years with the company soon put paid to all of that. By the time Nick moved out west to Calgary, the dark hair had become silver and the trim figure was a little less in proportion. I mention this because with the changes to Nick's physical attributes came changes to Nick's name, or to his nickname, if you'll excuse the pun. She likes one. No longer would the old standby Nick the Greek suffice. Oh no. A much more descriptive nickname came to centre stage. He is now fondly known as the Buddha. This is a name which appears to have special powers. What else can explain his ability to avoid being slapped when asking a waitress to stroke the Buddha? Perhaps these same special powers have played their part in allowing Nick to continue to perform at the top of his profession through the length of his career. There can be none better at getting an order than by simply asking for it. And let me assure you, Nick doesn't ask, he demands orders in the way a gunslinger fires bullets. Now that Nick has decided to hang up his guns, I hope this means that others might get a chance to win the company golf tournament. His record of 4 wins is another example of how fiercely competitive Nick can be, and how he is able to motivate and inspire other players on his team to victory. Nick's team always has a sprinkling of birdies, eagles, and maybe a Buddha or two. Over the years, I've come to recognise and appreciate the tenacity that Nick has shown in every task I have asked of him. I can't imagine what it will be like to not receive a phone call each day with Nick giving me an ear bashing about some miracle he wanted performing. More often than not, miracles do happen, especially when the suppliers are verbally battered into submission by Nick. I shall miss my early morning wake-up calls. Thank you. Nick has been a loyal employee for John Brooks Company with an almost unbelievable 33 years of service. His willingness to help his fellow employees and most of all his customers is unparalleled. He will be missed. I speak on behalf of all of us in saying that it has been a great pleasure to know you and to work with you throughout your career. We wish you a long and happy retirement. I'd like to give a round of applause. And now I'd like to make a small presentation, if I can call up Gord. And Nick, of course.
I want to say a few words about Nick.
Before or after?
Huh? Before. Nick.
Okay.
Sit down.
Yeah. See, we didn't talk before. Colin and I just said, he said, hey, we'll do a little presentation. I thought, we got back to the hotel room a little early. I said, I got to make some notes and try and, I'll say a few words about Nick. But it's 43 years of service.
Is he really?
43 years.
My apologies.
Right? No. And before. Was that Joe Naradkin, one of those? When we started to arrange the Christmas party, I sent some emails out, to some of the long-term employees, some of the people that Nick had worked with, saying, hey, I want pictures, stories, whatever you've got. And, and then you realize going out looking for information, for people who Nick worked with in Montreal, they either can't remember anything they don't have any pictures or can't find the pictures. Because I was really looking for a picture, because Nick, oh, you know, I used to have a full head of hair, I used to all this, and I go, we got to find one picture with Nick with some hair. And couldn't find any. And, but I wanted to just take a few minutes. Some of it's duplication, but really what I admired about Nick, what, you know, and what I will always remember about Nick. The first thing was that, you know, that I see, he was one that was really, you know, that competitive instinct, but really up for a challenge. Up until probably 10 years ago, Nick was on the spray side of John Brooks. And we went to One Rep selling all products, and then 5 years ago, we went to back to our product focus. Nick was the only spray guy in the country who was at, every other guy when you said, hey, would you like to go spray or pump? Nick, boom, I want to go to the pump side. And, you know, when you're thinking, hey, he's 5 years from retirement, does he really want to get into it? That's the type of guy he is. He was, you know, up for the challenge, and probably one of the most, you know, critical individuals we have out there in Mike Cosgrove is a monster fan of Nick. And you think, hey, in 5 years, you know, in 10 years, he won over one of the most critical guys we've got. And you get that through, you know, dedicated work, really, you know, orders, and really, you know, a commitment to the customer, which Nick has. Probably one of the, I'm not sure we have a rep who's got more of a commitment to customers. And that's what makes John Brooks, is our commitment to customers. Colin talked about, you know, the commitment to staff, working with staff. That's Nick. I just, you know, and I didn't get to work with him as, you know, as much as you guys from a day-to-day point of view, but what I really like, I mean, I don't know if there's another guy in the country who's so easy to get going when you talk to him. And, you know, I just got to do it once every quarter, once every 6 months. You guys got to do it every day. You know, you could get them going. But the way he built relationships with people. You know, I talked to suppliers, traveled down to suppliers, and if they ask about how is a specific person doing, the first name is Nick Poulos, you know, and you don't get that through developing relationships with you know, with people, and you know, that's Nick. And you know, when you said the Buddha, I think it was actually on a training session that we went on, and you know, you know, rub the Buddha, rub the Buddha. And I went on 2 sessions training with Nick, Ronigan Petter and Wilden. And I'm not sure, you know, I've laughed as, you know, any more on those weeks. Some of it was at Kevin's expense.
Thanks, Gordon.
But Nick was part of it. And then we'll forget, you know, all the Greek dinners we go out, no matter where it is. Nick's, you know, cousins? I'm not sure. Are they cousins or no, somehow related?
Close friends.
Close friends. But, you know, Petroleum Show 2012, you've got to organize a Greek dinner one night.
I will be there.
Okay? And you know, he's going out on top. Before I just thought, hey, I'm going to go through and just check some of the history just before I came here. And when you think about turned 65 5 years ago, I don't think there's a rep in the country with better performance in the last 5 years. And you know, you think people and, you know, you think, hey, people coast, you know, hey, I'm going to retire in a couple of years, start to coast. I don't think there's any coast in this guy. And we actually, you know, in what was it, July? You're going to go to 3 days a week? Did you ever work 3 days a week?
He's never done that.
Yeah.
We're up to 6.
Huh? I know, we're negotiating, and it's going, oh, you can go to 3 days a week. Okay, you know, finally, you know, and Mondays, Fridays, that was the days, right? Were you supposed to be off? Yeah. You know, you're still getting emails, calls, all the rest, and, but that's the commitment. And so, Nick, is it?
Yes, please come up and accept this little token.
Is this Serapi might
Yeah, well, I'm going to take that out.
But Nick, on behalf of first Roger, Keith, and Max, we want to wish you a long, happy, healthy retirement. You deserve it. Enjoy it. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Well done. Been a pleasure. Much appreciated. Wow. Whew. Go on a second.
Check another one. I'll just close the computer now.
We don't all have windows playing.
Yeah, you got nice clouds down here.
Oh.
Very nice.
Thanks.
God, 33 years.
One more picture.
One more picture of that, tell us.
Yeah, just with the computer off.
Yeah.
Worth it.
During Gord's short speech there, we mentioned about Mike Cosgrove, and all of those here will know that Cosgrove is a South African. And there is a song out there somewhere, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's "I Never Met a Nice South African." They are difficult people to get along with. They are notoriously stubborn, hard-headed, and to say that Nick won Mike over is an understatement. He just could not believe somebody with such, what do I call it, vim and vigour, if you know what that means, could actually get away with some of the things that Nick has done with customers over the years, and neither can I. No salesman calls me sitting in front of the customer and says, "I gotta have it!" And he usually gets it. One moment. Mike sent something along. Oh, huh?
Hey, what do you got there, Nick?
Wow.
We can't see
For your travels.
Thank you very much.
I know.
You're welcome, Nick.
Look at that, guys.
Oh.